CEO discovers hidden talent, janitor speaks 9 languages, her life-changing promotion exposed. Sarah wiped the sweat from her brow, the fluorescent lights of the tech firm buzzing like angry bees overhead. Every night, she walked through hallways that sparkled like glass, nurturing dreams she felt had long faded. She was just a janitor, a role that felt so small in a world filled with ambitious voices and high-tech wonders. But tonight would be different, a serendipitous twist waiting to unfold. As she silently scrubbed a conference table, she couldn't help but overhear voices echoing from an adjacent room. The CEO, Jason, was in the middle of a meeting, flanked by investors who spoke a language she knew all too well. Sarah's heart raced, and for a brief moment, she envisioned how easy it would be to step in and translate their complex discussion. But she quickly shook that thought away. What was a janitor like her to interrupt a world of suits and power? But then, with an urgent knock and a flurry of words, the emergency came. The foreign investor struggled, his words slipping between the cracks of misunderstanding. Jason's frustration flared. Sarah felt a tight knot in her chest. Could she risk it? In that heartbeat of hesitation, she recalled her son David's bright eyes, believing in a mother who could be more than just a cleaner. With a deep breath, she walked into the room, her presence felt but not welcomed. "I can help," she said, her voice trembled slightly. There was silence, the kind that fills the air before a storm bursts. Jason's eyes flared with surprise, and with a nod from him, she stepped forward. Unfurling her language skills, she danced through dialects. The tension in the room morphed into a moment tinged with awe. The investors smiled, Jason's jaw dropped, and in that wave of applause, Sarah saw a glimmer of hope she'd almost forgotten existed. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As whispers of her newfound recognition spread like wildfire, Sarah felt both exhilarated and terrified. She didn't want to be the object of envy or scrutiny. After all, she valued loyalty and humility above accolades. She worried about the judgment that would come from her fellow janitors, and her blood ran cold at the thought of being positioned as a target for office gossip. After all, a shining light often attracts shadows. Back home, David looked at her with pride, his innocent belief encouraging her strength. "Mom, you can do anything," he exclaimed, and in that moment, Sarah felt the flicker of her dream reignite. Yet the fear lingered, an unwelcome ghost whispering doubts into her ear. Would the office shift from camaraderie to cold disdain? As jealousy simmered in the break rooms, elevate her potential, Sarah was at the intersection of craving acknowledgement and the pulse of disapproval. She was a janitor, yet now, she stood on the brink of something larger. Would she step boldly into the light or retreat back into the safety of shadows she knew all too well? As the tension built, Sarah realized this was more than just a job, this was a moment that could ripple through the lives of all who felt invisible. Her heart pounding, she faced the boardroom. With the fate of her future hanging in the balance, Sarah took a deep breath, ready to stake her claim. Would her leap of faith shatter the barriers of prejudice, or would the weight of a world unkind push her back into obscurity? The next morning, the sun poured into Sarah's small apartment, casting a warm glow on the wall where family photographs hung. She blinked awake, the echo of last night's applause still reverberating in her ears. But mixed with that applause was a buzz of anxiety. Could she really change her life? Could she dare to be more? At work, the atmosphere crackled with anticipation. Colleagues whispered, casting sideways glances her way. She could feel the weight of their stares, the undercurrents of envy and curiosity swirling around her like a storm. Each hesitant smile felt laced with unspoken words. Who does she think she is? The question lingered in the air, sharp and biting. As she mopped the floor, the sound of water splashing echoed her internal turmoil. Was she only meant to be a janitor? The thought clung to her heart, pulling her down, but she fought it. She couldn't let fear snuff out this fleeting spark of hope. Lunch fell over the office like a blanket, and she found herself standing awkwardly in the break room. The table was crowded with executives and managers, laughter echoing off the sterile walls, their chatter a language she felt disconnected from. Jason walked in, his presence magnetic. The cheers from last night came rushing back, and before she could think, he approached her. "Sarah," he called, his voice warm, but the crowd fell silent at his command. All eyes were on them. The embarrassment threatened to swallow her whole, and she felt small. "I just wanted to say, what you did was incredible. We're reshaping roles here, and I'd love for you to join the team for our upcoming project. Your skills could turn this investment into something extraordinary." Her breath hitching, Sarah's heart raced. The offer was tantalizing, but it also filled her with fear. The idea of working alongside those who once overlooked her made her stomach churn. Thank you, but I'm just a janitor." Jason tilted his head, eyeing her with a fierce intensity. "You're not just a janitor. You're much more than that. Embrace it. Don't let fear keep you from shining." The murmurs among her co-workers started again, and Sarah felt a flush creeping into her cheeks. After he walked away, the room buzzed, and she wished for the quiet of her cleaning closet over the sound of judgment. Was stepping into the light of recognition worth the impending storm? Sarah knew she had the ability to make real change, and yet, that same desire for acceptance held her back. By the end of the day, she was exhausted not just physically, but emotionally. As she cleaned up the last of the night's chaos, she glanced into a nearby window. The reflection showed a woman wrestling with tension, dilated eyes full of uncertainty. But then she remembered David's words from the night before. "You can do anything." That phrase echoed, wrapping around her heart like a warm embrace. She picked up her phone, trembling, and texted her son, sharing what Jason had said. A flood of encouragement came back, but an idea began to crystallize in her mind. Maybe she wasn't just janitor or translator, maybe she was a bridge. With a newfound determination, she decided she would take Jason's offer. Sarah breathed deeply, a smile creeping onto her face. Her heart raced with possibility. Tomorrow would be a new beginning. But would this leap of faith invite more challenges than she could handle? As she turned to leave, a flicker of doubt passed through her, and she knew she needed to prepare for the trials ahead. With a resolve to face whatever would come next, she locked the office door behind her. She understood now that the real test wouldn't just be about seizing opportunities but also about navigating the storms within. What awaited on the other side of this door? Was it success, or would she find the weight of her past waiting like a shadow? When Sarah arrived at work the next day, the air felt different. It was electric, charged with possibility and the weight of unspoken expectations. Jason's words echoed in her mind, reminding her she was more than what others saw. As she walked through the office, her heart thudded against her chest, a reminder that today was the day she would step into the new role, whatever that might mean. She took a deep breath, summoning a courage she hardly felt. The buzzing office seemed to quiet around her, and it was as if every eye was trained on her, watching her every move. She remembered Jason's confidence, his belief in her. It filled her with a little burst of bravery. "Sarah." A voice broke through her thoughts. Lisa, one of the junior analysts, approached with a hesitant smile. "I heard you'll be working with Jason on that project. That's huge. How are you feeling about it?" Sarah hesitated. The excitement she felt was tangled with nerves. A little overwhelmed, to be honest. "It's a big step. You'll do great. I mean, if Jason believes in you, that says a lot." Lisa replied. The sincerity in her eyes made Sarah's heart warm. Maybe not everyone thought she was just a janitor. When she stepped into Jason's office, her palms were slick with sweat. The walls were lined with accolades and images of successful projects. In that moment, she felt small again. But as Jason looked up from his desk, he greeted her with a wide smile. "There you are. Ready to get started?" "Yeah, I think so," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. "Good." He gestured to the seat across from him. "Today, we're brainstorming ideas, and I'd like your input. Remember, your perspective is invaluable." As they began, Sarah felt the tension of the past days start to dissipate. She contributed thoughts about the project, her ideas emerging with a surprising fluidity. Each time Jason nodded in agreement, a flicker of pride ignited within her. Maybe she was more than she believed, but then the door swung open, and a couple of executives stepped in unannounced. Their expressions shifted from jovial to puzzled as they took in Sarah sitting there. One of them, Mark, raised an eyebrow. Didn't realize we were including maintenance staff in our discussions now," he scoffed, crossing his arms. The mirth evaporated from the air, replaced by a cold chill. Sarah's heart raced. She felt judged, like a spotlight was shining down on her flaws. Words caught in her throat. Jason stood, his posture radiating authority. "Actually, Sarah is much more than a support role. She's bringing valuable insights to this project," he affirmed. He looked at her, a blink of reassurance passing between them. Mark rolled his eyes, clearly unconvinced. "Let's just keep it to the experts, shall we?" he retorted. As the executives walked out, it felt like losing something she had just begun to gain. Sarah's stomach dropped. The doubt crept back in, nipping at her heels. She looked at Jason, the worry evident in her eyes. "Am I really cut out for this? What do I know compared to them?" "Don't let their ignorance shake you," Jason replied softly, leaning closer. "You have unique experiences that they can't match. You have insights nobody else has." His words settled in her heart, breathing warmth into her cloudy thoughts. But as the meeting resumed, doubt lingered, whispering of how easy it would be to retreat and hide. Later that day, as Sarah cleaned up after hours, she pondered her worth. Could she really prove herself amidst the scorn? She hesitated, glancing at the door. Perhaps it was time for her to stand tall. With determination settling in her chest, she picked up her phone and began drafting a message to Jason. She needed to express her thoughts about the executive's reaction. Could she handle this challenge? The weight of uncertainty loomed large. Suddenly, an urgent text pinged her phone, the screen lighting up, pulling her focus. Her heart leapt. Was it her son's encouragement again, or something else entirely that could change her course once more? As she opened the message, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that she was on the brink of discovering something monumental about herself. Would this baby step lead to a leap of faith or into deep waters of doubt? When Sarah opened the message, her breath caught in her throat. It wasn't a text from her son, but something else entirely. The name on the screen made her heart skip a beat. Jessica. A colleague she hadn't spoken to in ages. Curiosity bubbled up as she read the text. "Hey, Sarah. I hope you're doing well. I heard about your new role. I think it's incredible. I'd love to catch up and hear how you're doing." Her finger hovered over the screen. Did Jessica really want to talk, or was this a courtesy text? Memories of cafeteria lunches and shared laughter flickered in her mind. Jessica always had a way of making difficult days feel lighter. But did she really care about what Sarah was doing now, or was it just a fleeting thought? Taking a deep breath, Sarah replied, suggesting they meet for coffee. The thought of connecting with an old friend sparked a flicker of excitement in her chest. Maybe she needed that to feel normal, to escape the confines of the executive meetings and judgment. As she put her phone down, she noticed the evening sun casting a warm glow across her small office space. The world outside felt different too, as if it was inviting her to step out and breathe in new possibilities. The next day, she arrived at the coffee shop early. The familiar scent of brewed coffee mixed with pastries enveloped her, providing a comforting backdrop. As Jessica walked in, her face lit up with a genuine smile, just like she remembered. "Sarah. It's so good to see you." The two embraced, and momentarily, Sarah felt lighter, as if the weight of the last few days had been momentarily lifted off her shoulders. They chatted about the usual things: life, work, and the highs and lows of navigating the office landscape until Jessica's eyes narrowed, and she leaned in. "So how's that project going with Jason? I heard there's quite a buzz about you." Sarah hesitated. Should she confess to the fear that had crept back into her thoughts after the meeting with the executives? "It's going okay, I guess. But it's a bit intimidating," she shrugged, fighting off the urge to downplay her feelings. "I just get the feeling some people don't take me seriously." Jessica frowned. "That's ridiculous. You're so much more than just a janitor. Everyone knows that. You're talented, Sarah." Those words hit her like a wave, washing over the doubts swirling in her mind. It felt good to be seen, recognized for the potential buried under layers of insecurity. "But what if I can't deliver?" Sarah admitted, her voice shaky. "What if I mess things up? Everyone's expectations, it can be overwhelming. What if you shine?" Jessica shot back, her expression fierce yet encouraging. "What if you turn heads and prove them wrong? You have every reason to believe in yourself. You've always had this spark. Remember the project we did as interns? That spark ignited something within Sarah. Could she truly step out from the shadows? Could she really take on the challenge and show everyone she was more than they thought?" The conversation drifted to other topics, but Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that Jessica's words resounded deep within her. As their coffee cups emptied, she realized Jessica had given her something to hold on to, a reminder of her worth and abilities. Later that night, Sarah sat at her kitchen table, looking over the project notes Jason had shared with her. Every word and every idea felt charged with new meaning. Her head spun with possibilities. She couldn't ignore it anymore. This was her time to take risks and forge her own path. She would push herself, step outside the lines of what was expected, and not retreat when things got tough. With newfound determination, she opened her laptop and started typing a proposal for a fresh approach to the project. Hours passed as ideas flowed freely from her fingertips. It was as if the spark Jessica had lit was now afire within her, but just as she began to feel confident, her phone buzzed again with an unknown number. Her heart raced as she opened the message. It fluttered with urgency, beckoning her to read it, but what lay beyond? That message could change everything once more. Sarah stared at the unknown number on her phone, her heart racing faster with every second that passed. Thoughts swirled in her mind. Was it an opportunity? A setback? Or perhaps unsettling news she didn't want to hear? She hesitated before swiping her thumb across the screen. The message was short, but it stunned her. "You need to see this ASAP. Meet me at the usual place. J." The words blurred as she tried to focus. The usual place? Did that mean Jason? Sarah's stomach nodded, anxiety bubbling up. What did he want to discuss that couldn't be said over coffee? What hidden layers were lurking in their project that she hadn't yet uncovered? Taking a deep breath, Sarah set her laptop aside. She felt that familiar pull again, the spark from her earlier conversation with Jessica urging her on. She knew she needed to meet Jason, if only to face whatever shadows of doubt loomed over her. Minutes turned into an eternity as she drove to the small diner they both frequented. The neon lights flickered above the hum of late-night chatter inside. Once she stepped through the door, the warmth and chatter felt surreal in contrast to the chill of her nerves. She spotted Jason in a booth, his fingers drumming impatiently on the table. "Hey, Sarah," he said, his tone more serious than she expected. The way he looked at her stirred a sense of urgency. "Thanks for coming. I wanted to talk about the project." She slid into the seat across from him. "What is going on? Is there a problem?" He sighed, running a hand through his hair. Not a problem, but the executives have been closely watching the progress. They're impressed with your ideas, but they want something more. They want to see your potential. They think you should present at the next board meeting. Her mouth went dry. Present? In front of everyone? Panic washed over her, but she fought it down. This could be her moment. But the pressure was suffocating. Yes, Jason affirmed, leaning forward. And I believe you can do this, Sarah. You have the vision. But we need to polish the proposal. You need to showcase your passion and insight. You have an incredible talent that isn't just about your current role. This is your chance to let them see the real you. His faith in her struck a chord deep within. She had felt it earlier with Jessica, and now it echoed anew. But along with that spark came a sharp twinge of doubt. What if I can't deliver? What if I freeze up? Jason's brow furrowed. It's normal to feel scared. But think of this as the moment you've been waiting for. Embrace it. A determination bubbled within her. Okay. I'll do it. I'll rise up. She let the words settle. This was about more than just a project now, it was about defining her future. They spent the next hour discussing ideas, refining her proposal. Each time she spoke, the energy built, igniting the excitement she had felt earlier. Here was her chance to shine, to break free from the shadows where she had hidden for so long, but just as she felt the tide turning in her favor, her phone buzzed again. This time it was Jessica, a simple message that said, "Just heard about the presentation. Friday, right? You need to be ready for anything." A chill ran down her spine. What did that mean? What should she really be preparing for? Suddenly, the walls felt like they were closing in again. She had to ask. What else should I be ready for? Jason's eyes shifted, a flicker of concern passing through him. Let us focus on your presentation for now. But I can tell you there's a lot riding on this. You just need to stay strong. His words lingered, heavy with unspoken truths. What else was there that Sarah didn't know? The air felt thick with the weight of expectations, but she took a deep breath. As she left the diner, the night felt electric. She was on the brink of something monumental. But the question still loomed over her: what else did she need to prepare for? A knot formed in her stomach as she realized the answers she sought were becoming more essential than ever. It was time to figure out who she really was and what she was truly capable of. But little did she know, the answer could reshape everything, setting off a raw chain of events she never envisioned. What had she stumbled into? Sarah arrived home, the weight of the evening still palpable on her shoulders. The dim overhead light flickered a bit, matching the uncertainty buzzing in her mind. She sank into her worn-out chair and let out a shaky breath. Everything felt overwhelming, as if she was standing on the edge of a precipice. The presentation was just days away. Would she really be able to hold the room's attention? Her mind raced through every possible scenario, her voice cracking under the pressure, people whispering doubts about her talent. But Jason's belief in her echoed like a drumbeat in her heart, urging her to dig deeper, to find strength she didn't know she possessed. She pulled her laptop back into her lap, glancing through her notes. They seemed scattered, unfocused. She needed more time, more clarity. After a deep breath, she began typing, her fingers moving quickly over the keys. Ideas flowed, building a structure where before there had been chaos. Images of her project filled her mind, the colorful graphs, the compelling narratives, the way she had fought for every detail. The fire kindled anew, and with it came a sense of purpose. Suddenly, her phone buzzed again, a notification from Jessica. "You know I'm here for you, right? Just checking in." There was something in Jessica's message that calmed her racing heart. It reminded her that she wasn't alone in this. Everyone she cared about, their support was her lifeline. After a few moments, she typed back, "Thanks, Jess. I'm just trying to wrap my head around everything." Feels like a lot of pressure. Jessica responded almost immediately. You'll crush it. Just remember, you've got this. I believe in you. Sarah smiled, the warmth of her friend's words easing some of her tension. Confidence washed over her like a soft wave. Sharing her thoughts with Jessica made the overwhelming burden feel lighter, like a weight being lifted off her chest. Maybe the path ahead was less daunting than it seemed. As evening blurred into night, she found herself entering a rhythm, focus guiding her thoughts. The room transformed, it was no longer a confined space filled with doubt. Instead, it became a sanctuary of possibility, where ideas could blossom and grow. She lost track of time, the hours flying by as she developed her presentation and lost herself in her passion, but what was that flicker of doubt that crept in every now and then? Just when she felt on the brink of brilliance, something gnawed at her. What did Jessica really mean by ready for anything? Was there more at stake than she realized? What shadows lingered beyond the glow of her eager anticipation? Finally, Sarah stepped away from her laptop, rubbing her tired eyes. She needed a break. She wandered into the kitchen, grabbing a glass of water. As she leaned against the counter, she replayed the day's events. Every conversation, every word had the power to uplift or undermine her. Her mind whirred back to Jason's stern yet supportive nod. Why had he been acting a bit off? Had she missed something in their discussion? The uncertainty clawed at her, knotting her stomach again. Sarah could feel the walls of her own mind press in, reminding her of why she had to prove herself. Taking a sip, she stared out the kitchen window, her reflection staring back, uncertain yet determined. Just then, a thought hit her. She'd need to confront Jason about his hesitation, to get to the heart of the matter, but first, she had to transform her presentation into something unforgettable, something that showcased who she truly was. She set her glass down decisively, resolved to dig deeper. The night held promises, but also risks. She was ready to face it all head-on. Every moment, every step taken brought her closer to the edge of her dreams or the brink of disaster. And that was terrifying. Was she ready for what was waiting just beyond? The pieces of her life felt as if they were beginning to fall into place, but at what cost? The next morning dawned with vibrant sunlight streaming through Sarah's bedroom window. It beckoned her to rise, to embrace the possibility of the day. Yet, beneath that warm glow, uncertainty still clung a little too tightly. She rubbed her eyes, shaking off sleep. Today was significant. Her presentation loomed just around the corner. As Sarah made her way to the kitchen, she replayed her scattered thoughts from the night before. Each step felt heavier, as if she were wading through water. Could she truly face this challenge? She brewed a cup of coffee, the rich aroma grounding her amidst the chaos in her mind. Her phone chimed again, jolting her from her reverie. It was a message from Jason. Morning, Sarah. Ready to tackle the day? Forcing a smile, she typed back, I hope so. Just trying to wrap my head around everything. His response was quick, filled with an enthusiasm that reminded her of his unwavering support. You've got this. Let's meet later to prep before the big show. A wave of gratitude washed over her. This was why she loved working with him. His belief in her talent made her want to push through the doubts. After finishing her coffee, Sarah opened her laptop once more. There it was, the presentation waiting for her. Maybe she could make it shine. The thought of sharing her vision, her ideas, started sparking excitement instead of dread. With renewed determination, she moved through her slides. But every so often, her mind drifted back to last night's conversation. The weight of Jessica's words still lurked. It felt cryptic, like an unspoken warning. What was really at stake? She tried to shake it off, focusing instead on her content. With each slide, she infused pieces of her passion about innovation, creativity, and the impact of her project. As she watched her ideas come to life on the screen, she felt a flicker of hope. But just then, a knock broke her concentration. It was Jessica. Hey! Thought I'd find you here, she said, stepping into the apartment, her smile infectious. "Morning. I've been working on the presentation," Sarah admitted, a hint of pride in her voice. Jessica leaned over her shoulder, glancing at the screen. "Wow. This looks amazing, Sarah. You're really putting your heart into it." For a moment, Sarah felt seen, appreciated. But then she remembered the conversation from the night before. "Thanks. But I've been thinking about what you said, ready for anything." "What did you mean?" Jessica's smile faded slightly, her expression shifting into something more serious. "I just meant to prepare for anything that could happen. Sometimes, things don't unfold as we planned. You know?" Sarah's heart raced. Was she implying that there might be unexpected hurdles? Like what? "I can't say for sure, but just be ready." Jessica shrugged, but the weight of the words didn't leave the air. Uneasy, Sarah turned back to her laptop, the glow of the screen suddenly too bright. "Okay. I appreciate the advice," she replied, trying to keep her voice steady, but the knot in her stomach tightened. As Jessica moved about the apartment, their light-hearted banter returned, but Sarah couldn't shake the feeling of unease. Later in the day, when she met with Jason, he greeted her with a sense of urgency, his brow furrowed. "We need to talk about the presentation and a few other things." His seriousness cut through her optimism like a knife. "What do you mean, other things?" she asked cautiously. Jason hesitated, his eyes searching hers. "There might be more complications than I thought. We need to be prepared for anything." Her heart raced at his uncertain tone. Was she genuinely ready for whatever storm was brewing ahead? As they dove into rehearsal, she sensed the weight of something lurking just beneath the surface. All her preparations felt like sand slipping through her fingers. The thrill of the presentation was fading, overshadowed by an unknown doubt. What more could possibly go wrong? And would she be able to rise above whatever lay ahead? The answers lingered just out of reach, leaving her questioning every step forward. As the evening loomed closer, she needed to find clarity. Would she be able to hold steady when the ground felt so uncertain? And would she uncover the truth behind Jason's worry before the moment arrived? Sarah sat on the edge of her bed, staring at her laptop glowing brightly before her. She should have been practicing her presentation, pouring every ounce of creativity she had into it, but the shadows of doubt hounded her like persistent gnats. What was going on with Jason? And why did Jessica's words feel like cold dread settled deep in her bones? The clock on the wall ticked steadily, each sound merging into the chaotic rhythm of her thoughts. She pulled her knees tight against her chest, seeking some comfort, any reassurance. Deep breaths helped a little, but not enough. The unease swirled in her stomach like a storm waiting to unleash. Suddenly, her phone buzzed again. It was a message from her dad. "Hey, champ. Just wanted to wish you luck on your presentation tomorrow. I know you'll crush it. Let me know how it goes." A smile broke through her anxiety. She could picture his warm smile, filled with pride. It was enough to remind her that there were people in her life who truly believed in her. And that belief, somehow, spurred her to face this upcoming challenge head-on. With a deep inhale, Sarah opened her laptop again. She scrolled through her slides, the colorful graphics and heartfelt words suddenly feeling vibrant and sparkly. That was the spark she needed. The presentation wasn't just a test, it was a chance to share her passion and vision with others. However, as she prepared to practice, her phone rang. It was Jason. The familiar chirp of his laughter echoed through her mind, a sound that usually brought her comfort but now ignited more worry. After a quick hesitation, she answered. Hey, Sarah. Can we meet at the cafe? I really think we need to talk in person." His tone was serious, and her heart plummeted. "Sure. I'll be there in a bit," she replied, her voice betraying her rising tension. When she arrived, the cafe buzzed with lively chatter and the warm scent of freshly brewed coffee enveloped her. But all that atmosphere faded into background noise as she settled across from Jason. He looked more serious than ever, and that familiar furrow in his brow only deepened her unease. "Thanks for coming," he started, his voice low. "I wanted to talk about the presentation, obviously, but also there's something else." "What is it?" She leaned forward, her heart racing. "I heard some things," he said, glancing around as if afraid someone might overhear. "There might be positions shifting in the department. Things could get messy for both of us. I don't want you to be blindsided." "What do you mean? Why didn't you tell me about this sooner?" It felt like the ground beneath her wobbled, threatening to give way. "I didn't have all the details. But I care about you, and I want you ready," he said, sincerity softening his tense demeanor. "Just keep your eyes open and don't let yourself be vulnerable. Do your best with the presentation. That's the plan." But her stomach twisted at the implications. They shifted the topic back to the presentation, drilling through the essentials. With each passing minute, the nervous momentum built so much pressure in the air. But Sarah forced herself to focus on the power of her project, the reason she wanted to present it in the first place. As the conversation continued, she could see the light fading from Jason's eyes, replaced with something she couldn't quite decipher. Was it worry? Fear? She wondered if he was as frightened as she was. "I know you believe in me," she said finally, searching his gaze for connection. "But what if everything falls apart?" The question hung between them, thick and palpable. She was used to overcoming challenges, but the thought of failing in front of her colleagues loomed like a dark cloud. "Then we'll figure it out together," Jason replied, determination welling in his voice. "But you can't let fear hold you back. You've got to be ready for anything. Promise me that." His words, filled with a lifeline of reassurance, struck something deep within her. She nodded, needing to believe them. As they finished discussing the details, Sarah felt the weight of her emotions pressing down. What would happen tomorrow? Would she truly be ready for whatever came her way? The uncertainty stood like a mountain in her mind, taunting her with the idea of failure. As they parted ways, she couldn't shake the feeling that something bigger was at play. What if her journey was just beginning? And would the truth about Jason and his hidden worries ever come to light? Stepping into the night, Sarah wondered if this was just the calm before a storm, or the first step into something profoundly transformative. The cool night air wrapped around Sarah like a soft blanket as she walked home. Street lamps flickered overhead, casting long shadows that danced along the pavement. Each step felt heavier than the last, her mind a swirling mix of worry and anticipation. What would the morning bring? Her presentation was on the horizon, but it felt shrouded in fog, both literal and metaphorical. At home, Sarah poured herself a glass of water, her hands trembling slightly. She didn't acknowledge the reflection staring back at her in the kitchen window, the exhaustion etched into her features. Instead, she turned to the table, where her laptop lay open, the slides waiting, craving her attention. "Just breathe," she murmured to herself, taking another deep inhale. She was a fighter, wasn't she? She had navigated challenges before, and she could do it again. Yet, the weight of Jason's warning loomed large, festering in the back of her mind. She was determined to not let it undermine her performance, but could she really block out the anxiety creeping in? With a flick of her fingers, she clicked through her slides, each one a reminder of her goals. The words she had carefully crafted filled her with hope, sparking glimpses of excitement among the dread, but then doubt rushed back in. What if the idea didn't resonate with anyone? What if she stumbled, her voice faltering in front of the entire department? 2 hours ticked by, and unease settled in her chest like a stone. It was time for her to put the presentation on pause. She needed a break, a distraction. Reaching for her phone, she hesitated before deciding to message her dad, the comforting tone of his previous text still echoing in her heart. "Hey, Dad. Just wanted to say I really appreciate your message earlier. It means a lot. 3. Almost instantly, her phone buzzed back. "You've got this, Sarah. Remember, everyone else is just as nervous on presentation day. You're going to shine. Trust yourself." Those words twisted in her soul, unraveling knots of tension. She let out a soft laugh. She certainly wasn't alone in her fears, was she? With renewed determination, Sarah closed her laptop, needing a change of scenery. She slipped into her favorite hoodie and made her way back outside, the cool night air refreshing her spirit. Maybe a walk would clear her mind. The street was quiet, the world dimmed as if holding its breath in solidarity with her. As Sarah strolled, she pondered Jason's warnings. She wished more than anything they could talk openly about it, but a part of her understood why he couldn't. The intricacies of office politics were such a tangled web. Everyone had something to protect. Suddenly, her phone buzzed again. It was a new message from Jessica, the very person who first sent doubt flooding into her mind. "Hey, hope you're ready for tomorrow. Heard some rumors, though. Just stay alert, okay?" The breath caught in her throat. A chill ran down her spine. Jessica's words wrapped around her like a noose, they just heightened her anxiety. What rumors? What shift in the department did Jessica know about that she didn't? Why is everyone so vague? Sarah muttered under her breath, frustration bubbling over. The fear gnawed fiercely, setting her thoughts racing back to her crucial moment of truth. The countdown to her presentation was slipping away. She turned around, her home now looming in the distance, casting a shadow. What would happen if things did fall apart? Would she still be standing strong? Suddenly, a soft noise caught her attention, a jingle blending in with the night. And then she saw him. A figure barely illuminated by the streetlight, sitting on a bench at the park. It took her a moment to recognize him. Jason? Would he have answers for her? Was he waiting to unravel the threads that bound her heart in tight knots? As she stepped closer, she felt a rush of urgency. Maybe tonight would bring clarity. But as she approached, a sense of foreboding washed over her. What if he was about to share something that might change everything? "What are you doing here?" she asked, heart racing with uncertainty. And as Jason stood, the answer hung heavy in the air, laden with the weight of secrets that neither of them was prepared to face. Jason took a deep breath, his eyes reflecting the uncertainty that mirrored Sarah's own. "I needed to talk to you, away from the office," he said slowly, almost as if the words were reluctant to leave his mouth. The dim light cast shadows across his face, emphasizing the concern etched into his features. "Is it about the presentation?" Sarah asked, tense with anticipation. She stepped closer, the weight of her worries amplifying the distance between them. He nodded. "Yes, but it's more than that. I don't want you to be blindsided by what is happening in the company. There have been talks of restructuring, and some changes are coming." Sarah's heart raced. "Restructuring? What does that mean for us?" Jason sunk onto the bench, running a hand through his hair. "It could mean layoffs, or it could mean new opportunities. But the truth is, I don't want you to be caught off guard. You have so much potential, and I believe this project could be your stepping stone." The words flickered like a candle fighting against the wind, hinting at both promise and peril. "But what if I fail?" She could feel the tremor in her voice, the raw edge of anxiety creeping in all at once. "What if it all goes wrong? And what if you succeed?" Jason shot back, an intensity igniting in his eyes. "You can't let fear dictate your path. This is your moment, Sarah. Own it. You've already conquered so much just by getting to this point." His fervor washed over her like a wave, filling her with warmth and determination. "You're right," she sighed, a sense of calm weaving through her. She took a seat beside him. "I am ready. I have to be ready." Jason leaned closer, their shoulders brushing, creating a sense of camaraderie amidst the uncertainty. What you need to focus on is the strength within you. The fear is just a part of the journey. Each step forward only makes you stronger. Sarah felt a spark ignite within her, the kind that slowly began burning bright. Thank you for believing in me, Jason. He looked at her, his gaze steady. You're not just a janitor, Sarah. You're a bridge between worlds. Show them what you're made of. As they spoke, the night felt less daunting. The roar of late-night traffic faded, replaced by the soft rustling of leaves around them. The shadows of uncertainty began to lift, and for the first time, Sarah felt a genuine sense of liberation. They spent the next hour discussing her ideas for the presentation, each exchange wrapping around them like a bond, a commitment to facing whatever lay ahead together. The bigger picture slowly clarified. If they succeeded, it could reshape everything for both of them. As they finally prepared to leave, Sarah stood tall, a weight lifting from her heart. I'm going to own this presentation, she declared, determination lacing her voice. Good. And remember, you're capable of amazing things. Just trust yourself, Jason replied, a fierce pride gleaming in his eyes. As Sarah made her way home, she felt transformed, no longer bound by the shadows of her past. She wrapped herself in the warmth of newfound courage and clarity. Tomorrow's presentation would be a summit of potential. She was ready to climb. The next morning dawned bright and clear. Sarah looked in the mirror, met her own gaze with fierce resolve. I can do this, she whispered to herself, confidence swelling within her. At the office, the atmosphere buzzed with anticipation, colleagues darting about, their chatter filled with energy. But she spotted Jason, waiting by the conference room doors, a reassuring smile lighting his face. Ready? He asked. She took a deep breath, her heart racing in rhythm with the pulse of opportunity. More than ever. As they entered the room, Sarah felt electrified. The board members gathered, and the executives who once doubted her now watched, curiosity etched in their expressions. A wave of adrenaline rushed through her. This was not just a presentation, it was her chance to redefine who she was. As she began, each word flowed effortlessly, painting a vivid picture of her vision and the transformative potential of the project. She infused passion into every slide, her ideas dancing with new life. Lucas nodded approvingly, and the energy in the room shifted. She could sense it. Sarah's heart swelled as she spoke, finally breaking free from the weight of doubt. Then came the questions, sharp but fair. She faced them head-on, her confidence rising with every challenge. The executives furrowed their brows, but she was prepared, weaving through the uncertainties and standing firm, a radiant smile illuminating her face. Impressive, Mark, one of the more skeptical executives, finally said. You might just be onto something here. The room erupted in murmurs of approval, like waves crashing onto the shore, reaffirming her worth. When the presentation ended, applause erupted, filling her with warmth. Jason's proud nod from the back of the room felt like the final confirmation she needed. The echoes of the previous night resonated. She was not just a janitor but a force to be reckoned with, redefining her own narrative. As she stepped out of the conference room, a few colleagues sidled up, whispers of admiration catching her ears. That was incredible. Someone remarked, another chimed in, I always knew you had it in you. A smile bloomed across her face. It felt like home. I did it, Sarah thought, an overwhelming sense of joy washing over her. In this moment, she realized it wasn't just about the project or the number of languages she spoke. It was about conquering the barriers of her past and stepping boldly into her future. As she walked away with Jason, surrounded by the murmurs of possibility, her heart burst with gratitude. She turned to him, excitement bubbling in her chest. Thank you for believing in me, she said earnestly. We believed in each other, he replied, a genuine smile brightening his features. And this is just the beginning. The paths ahead still had questions waiting to be answered, but as Sarah looked back at her journey, she felt ready to embrace it all. Every challenge, every victory, that day marked a turning point, a gateway to endless possibilities, an affirmation that she would never fade into the background again. As they emerged into the sunlight, she took a deep breath, feeling lighter, more alive than ever. In that moment, Sarah understood her true power. She could turn whispers of doubt into proclamations of strength and hope. The world had opened up, and she was ready to rise. Don't let this transformation end here. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.